Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I'm your host, Mike Gonzalez. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for subscribing, saying kind words. Thanks for sending me messages at lostlikemike@gmail.com. Yeah, I definitely want to encourage those messages. I appreciate the seemingly symbiotic relationship that sort of makes this endeavor. This is kind of off the subject. I haven't really. I've recently been contemplating doing something different with this show. Maybe taking a bit of a sabbatical, maybe a bit of a hiatus. Maybe continuing to record episodes, but maybe suspending posting them for a while. I even wasn't sure I was going to mention the thought popping in my head recently. But I mean, when I set out to do this years ago, initially I wanted to do something with my brother. And as you know, may or may not know, if you're just dropping in for the first time or not, before we could get started, he passed away. So I was left to figure out how to do this. And the principles behind it, the idea behind it still holds true. There was 3 main tenets that I was following. One was to try to feel connected to the collective by way of sharing my experiences and the things that are going on in my life, and hopefully finding some kinship with the listeners, or for people that may happen upon this show. The second tenet was to explore things that I was completely ignorant of, to try to learn and to sort of expound on my knowledge of the world around me. And the third tenet was to establish a bit of accountability, kind of sort of I would say things and have to hold myself to them, because when you go back and listen to a previous episode, and you can hear exactly how full of it you are if you make a decision to do something and then find yourself revisiting that idea 6 months later, or at least to say, if I was to say on one episode, hey, I'm going to do this by next week, I'll talk to you about it and we'll see what happens, to have a bit of accountability and, through this show. And part of the idea in sort of is to come up and do a show to have a conversation, whether I wanted to or not, whether I was depressed or anxious or angry or tired, that I would do the show as a reflection of that, whatever that was. And I've done episodes, after receiving horrible news. I've done shows in the midst of panic attacks. I've done them, and I've been committed to doing so. And I've been proud of myself for the consistency and I've been happy with the results. a lot of times I've felt very a lot less cluttered. I've been able to sort of get out, the the white noise, of constant unexpressed thoughts, right? You have all these ideas and all these things that are on your mind, and you some in my experience, or in I can speak for myself. You oftentimes don't have the venue, the opportunity to express those ideas, those thoughts, those fears, those concerns, whatever it is that's on your mind. So this was my platform to do that, and I've been happy with that. And and to say that I will stop doing that, it's not. That's not where this is coming from. I would continue to do this, and because it has been beneficial, with the state of my mental state. I reverse that. It, where this is coming from, I think, is more after over 100 episodes. I feel like I've begun to get into the habit of doing this, right? So I'm very comfortable coming on here and talking and oversharing, and I've held true to that. When I first started the show, I would edit quite often. I mean, nothing too contrived. It was more like for dead spaces and for getting used to freely speaking without a whole lot of judgment on my part. But I feel like at this point, I think that I need to take it to another level. I need to take what I've learned and maybe revisit doing the show in a different way. I feel like there needs to be some sort of evolution or progression. And it's just a recent thought. I'm just sharing with you what's been going on over the past week. I feel like I'm just, talking out into the void, and I don't know, something is telling me that maybe I should sort of take an assessment of where I'm at, of how this has been for me, and decide whether I want to continue to do it in the same way that I have been doing it, or if I want to do something different. There were times when prior to COVID, I had different incarnations of what I wanted to do. There's a social aspect of this that I haven't really explored. Prior to COVID, I wanted to do something that was conversational with strangers. I wanted to get to know people as it was a separate tenant. I wanted to be in, explore my sort of social awkwardness and inability to I don't know, figure out how to talk to people. This is different, right? I'm sort of talking to myself in long form, really. if you hear me typing in the background, the reason I'm doing that is because I feel like, give me 1 second, and I'll talk to you about what is happening right now. Ugh. Anyway, um, I apologize. This is not quality listening, but I feel like I was using a word incorrectly, and I'm just trying to figure it out. I often do that, not use words in the wrong. Um, um, but I think that comes from sort of over time. You believe that you hear something, and so many times that you you feel like you're using it in the right way, but in this case, I don't think I was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get off the subject anyway. But if you're like asking yourself what I meant, I was using the word tenants, and I can't. Obviously, my Google skills are just suck right now. Okay, so sorry. So I'm using a kind of a loose definition of it. I was saying tenants. And tenets are opinions or beliefs or principles held to be true by somebody or especially an organization. While a pillar is, this one says it's a large post. Have you ever heard somebody say, like, there's the four pillars of this, institution or whatever? I was going to use that word, but in terms of, I was saying a tenant of the show, right? But it's not exactly what I was going for. I was trying to say um, there was a purpose of the show, so I should say like I had three, I had several purposes, right? Or just basically reasons to do this show. Okay, so I'll say that instead of, I held those ideas to be important to me, which is why I use the word tenant. But anyway, I digress. I was just trying to clarify, and there was a lot of dead space in there. I apologize. One thing I was mentioning was that, yeah, so I don't necessarily edit. I edited a couple weeks ago. I blew my nose on I was sick, and I blew my nose, and when I was adding the music to the show, and I was fast forwarding through it, my wife said, you have to like edit that out. Somehow she gave me a complex that I was blowing my nose incorrectly. So, but I try not to edit the context of the conversation, because I feel like that would affect the rawness of it, or like me being true or not, me being real about whatever it is that I'm talking about. Anyway, that was enough meta for today. Basically, I just wanted to share with you that thought had popped in my head. I may look at it for some sort of arbitrary date, like the end of the year, like to maybe, since we're in November now, just do shows until the end of December and then take a break. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. I mean, uh, I was YouTubing some different songs, and old episodes were popping up in my feed, and I was thinking, wow, I've really done a lot of these episodes. This is like the 120 something, but I've enjoyed doing the episodes. I've enjoyed coming up with titles from doing the artwork, the music. So I have no regrets. It's definitely been a modest audience, but I think that's mainly because of, if I'm being honest, a fear of promoting it or doing anything about it. I think we've talked in the past about self-destruction of, like I had, you get like, on the platforms that I post this on outside of YouTube. YouTube never really doesn't do a lot of numbers, but on my Buzzsprout, they put it on all these different platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all the different ones, and so you reach different different downloads that you have, and it's done okay. I mean, not doesn't no crazy numbers, but they'll send you something that says 500 downloads or what have you, and I choose not to promote that or put that on different social media platforms. And the whole world's falling around behind me. That was the giraffe. Did you see that? That's what we call, Carlos Castaneda would call that the universe wanting to chime in on the subject. God, jeez. I have a dancing animal behind me. As an example of what I will not edit out of the episode. If you're just listening, then I have a couple of paintings behind me that just fell apart or fell down. It looked like my entire set was coming down. Yep. The cow. Cheers to you, cow, for not falling down. Anyway, there's ghosts in the machine. If you're listening, then I don't know what the fuck's going on behind me, dude. It's like this whole shit's falling apart. Nothing's going on out in the world. I don't understand what's happening. These paintings are just coming off the wall, and for no reason. Anyway, I might edit that out, not for conversation, but just because it's ridiculous. These paintings behind me are just falling off. It's a distraction from the conversation. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I don't promote it or do anything like that. So it's not really, I've never really been about the numbers. I've been mainly about how honest I am. And so that being said, I have to contemplate whether or not I want to continue to post these under this arrangement, this structure, like under a Lost Like Mike brand or labeling. I don't know. But I just have to share it because it was a real thought on my mind, and I don't want it to be, out of the blue if I decided to do that. Um, there's some other creative endeavors that I'd like to do. And I mean, I'll put it this way. One of the things that has been on my mind for months is that my set is not what I want it to be. I don't have a desk. I don't have, things aren't organized. I feel like I'm sending out messages, on a cardboard box and just taping together. I mean, right now my paintings fall behind me from, because I just have it sort of propped and leaning, and I can't get my, audio set up correctly, and I'm having to carry the microphone in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that I feel like could be done better, and I just don't have the resources or the time to really kind of to do that. I mean, there's a lot going on, but I want to commit to doing the show. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in order to continue doing the show, I need to make some decisions, almost like put up or shut up. You want to do the show or you don't. Either you want to do it right or you don't. And so I think that's ultimatum-wise, I need to sort of put the gauntlet down and say, look, either we're going to have to soup this up or not. A couple of things I wanted to talk about before I go today. Obviously, that's one of the things that I wanted to do. Let's talk about that. But I had a concern recently. I was on the highway and just, driving, minding my business. And a utility, like a truck that was like for a carpet cleaning company, just starts like running into my lane to run me off the road. Really, their intention was to just bully me out, push me into this. It was a 3-lane situation, and on the highway, and they were shoving me over they figured they would just intimidate me into getting out of the lane into a fast lane. And in doing so, they made me cut off this other guy. Had I not moved out of the way, they would have clipped me from the middle, which would have been like a payday. But, I guess they were assuming that I wouldn't want that inconvenience of, getting plowed into. I don't know. But so the guy behind me that I cut off into the fast lane, right? Because, I mean, it was either that or get smashed, right? So he lays on his horn. And I'm like, what? Okay. In my mind, I'm thinking, obviously, this guy's like, he witnessed what just went down. So he's honking at that carpet cleaning guy. You know what I mean? So I continue forward, right? And then the guy from behind me gets out from behind me and comes next to me, and he flicks me off. Like where he held up the middle finger and just accelerated to go forward. And two things though. One, when I got ran off from the guy, I slammed on my gas. I wanted to catch that carpet guy. I don't know why, but it overwhelmed me. And even though I feel like I was in the wrong for cutting off this dude, out of need or whatever, when he flicked me off in the manner that he did, I wanted to smash into him badly. And it was such an overwhelming sense, man. It just overtook me. And there I am chasing this dude for all of like the next couple miles and just raging, like, and I know better. I don't want to be road raging. I know that, in Texas, especially, people be, brandishing weapons if you cut them in line at a grocery store, much less if you road rage on the highway. So I know full well that I don't need to be doing that. And there I am, getting on behind him, and then real quick, this guy just, it looked like he even didn't want to get off the highway at that moment, but he ran away. And the worst part about it was on my way home from work. And so if you follow anyway, I talked to my mom on the way home from work, right? I like to touch base with her every day. So she's on the phone with me while I'm like, try not to use curse words. So I try not to use curse words in front of my mom, out of respect. So she was like, what's going on? Because apparently I must have said some sort of, like taunting or like some sort of comment. So she's like, you need my Glock, she said at one point. And I said, okay, that's funny. My mom does not own a Glock, ladies and gentlemen. It was just, her point was I was being overtly aggressive and I needed to chill out. And so I did, but anyway, I thought I'd bring it up because I felt sort of like I saw red and just got belligerent. And I don't like that because it's not something that I'm very used to seeing in myself. And if it's symptomatic of something larger happening, I need to figure that out. I did not like it. So I got a text message. I got about my mom this morning, and she had fallen down. There's a lot of different ways that I could take this conversation because, number one, like, before I even get into it, this is not the first time that she's fallen down. She stays at a senior center. And, I just think it's negligence. There's nothing in there that they're taking care of this issue. It seems to be ongoing. Anyway, so this time it was a bit of a bad fall. They needed to do some scans and tests and make sure she was okay and all that. And my sister says that she would normally be following up with the situation, but that she had a medical procedure that she had to do. And I'm thinking, the what? But the reason I'm bringing all this up, which we'll get back to my mom's situation and kind of exploration of that, I started to think, I don't know if this is just me or like this is kind of why I'm bringing it up. I have no idea the things that are going on with my family, with my brother or my sister. I feel sort of, but then I got to thinking like, well, how much do they really know about the things that are going on in my life? And how forthright am I about the procedures and things that I got going on? And when I was at work, I started to talk to a friend about it, and she was mentioning that she's way out of touch with like her entire squad of like brothers and sisters. And so I felt like, okay, well, maybe it's not all about, that it's just particular to my relationship with my family, right? But Yeah, so I was just kind of wanting to bring that up and see if maybe it was something that uh, people out there can relate to. Maybe message me about, let me know. Um, I don't think, I just feel like here comes the holidays and not word one has been said. Like I was thinking, I hadn't even visited with my brother or my sister since last holidays. We live in the same city and we have not broken bread since Christmas of last year. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe we had, I'll have to go back to the episodes. I know I would have talked about it if we did like a Sunday morning breakfast or something. But I think it's been, you know, I think that it was last year that we were doing breakfasts, as a family, and then we haven't even done that. So here we are, maybe a week away from Thanksgiving, and I think we're doing Thanksgiving here at my own house this year. No family coming over to speak of. I know there's been a lot of medical things going on everywhere, but it's just strange to me. Anyway, that's just been something that was on my mind. My daughter did her Christmas pageant, so Christmas recital. I think would be more of an apt description. She sang in the choir while they acted out a little mini play at her school. And I felt like a jerk because they were doing their the manger scene, right? And they had the angel and the wise men and the shepherds, and I played the donkey when I was a little kid. Besides the point, but they all gathered around the crib of the baby, the manger, and the right. And they said, and they prayed over the baby, right? And one of the shepherds does the sign of the cross, and I was like, well, that's inaccurate. Why would you be doing the sign of the cross and the baby Jesus right there hasn't even been on the cross yet? You know what I mean? I felt like a jerk for even thinking that. Like, you're supposed to be just like, oh, look at the little children doing their bit. And I was like, can we run that back? Because I was taken out of it. Anyway, the moment. But it's on a list of things that I was talking to my wife about. Being overtly critical and like, I don't know where that comes from, of like judging, and it's bad habits, man. Like, I don't like, we'll be watching a TV show and I'll say something and my wife's like, God, you're ugly to people. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't make fun of people or speak poorly about them or whatever. And she's like, well, what do you think that is that you're saying about these people? I don't know. I'm just, thinking out loud. Like, I don't know. I mean, I beat myself up all the time. Why don't, But anyway, she did a really good job. She sang. She were pretty, I never get invited to do these things. And let's just say it's not even Thanksgiving yet. I already have my Christmas lights up. My wife had me put them up. But the reason I bring that up is because I was outside with all this stuff. I'd worked really hard. She wanted me to do the yard. I did the yard. She wanted me to get the boxes out from the storage. I got, all those different things, right? And she was saying how she was listing out these different things, and they were about to go shopping to get her outfits, my daughter's special outfit for this recital. They were going to do these, have lunch or go do whatever they're going to do. And I was like, oh, man. She's like, why are you all mad? And I was like, no, no, no. And it goes back to maybe like a year ago episode where I talked about maybe I did or did not. I don't know. Sometimes you feel like a facilitator for other people's lives. Like I work 2-3 jobs, and for that reason, my time is constricted, limited. But I see my daughter in flashes. Is it time? You know what I mean? She popped in. I was just sometimes I just want to check in. Sometimes you feel like that though, like you're passing in I'm coming, they're going kind of thing, right? They're getting bath time and they're doing homework and running to bed and I'm here, and in the mornings they're up and out, they're getting their stuff together, they're leaving, and I'm here. And then the weekend comes and there's obligations, things that need to happen, and you look up and it's been weeks or a month that you've hung out, and she has different mannerisms and different things that, because it happens really fast, and you just feel like sometimes I felt so. That day in particular, I had my list of things that I had to do, and they were getting ready to go and leave, and I'm like, I was kind of bummed about it, and so she was like, "What are you doing? Like, why y'all, whatever?" And I was like, "No, man. Sometimes you just feel like I'm just facilitating y'all's day, like I'm enabling y'all to have a life. It's not like I'm not participating, right?" And to her credit, she went out and she said, "All right, well, look, you finish what you're doing and get showered and changed, and we'll wait for you, and we'll take care of these other projects, and then we'll get to go all together." And so we did. It was a blast. We went, and it's weird because my daughter has these different stigmas about, like, from, like, I guess from social media and from the shows that she watches or whatever, of what I guess a guy is supposed to be like or whatever. And so we're out looking at these different department stores and stuff, shopping for shoes. I'm like, just to let you know, told my daughter, I used to sell clothes. It was my first job ever, and I'm really good at like, I'm a really good salesperson. And I was trying to talk to her about it, right? And she's like, "Oh, Dad, shut up, Dad. I'll figure it out. She knows what she wants, whatever." Because we were looking at his shoes, and she was like, "Ugh, like those are." And I said, "Wait, what do you not like about these shoes?" "I don't know. They're gross and like barf and like whatever." And I was like, "No. What about them?" She's like, "Why? What does it matter?" And I was like, "Listen." And I would tell her the whole story about me being like who I was, like with it. I'm talking about the shoes.
It's already 30 minutes past your time.
Okay. Is it time?
Yes.
Okay, I'll round it up.
That's what I said.
All right. I didn't see you. You opened the door like a ninja and just glared. Anyway, long story short, I was trying to explain to her that I used to have this method of selling where I would talk to the person and say, and I would take whatever then I knew that they wanted whatever they wanted, right? Like say a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever. And I knew, so if they came back and said, I don't like this. Okay, well, do you not like the color? Do you not like the size? Do you not like the fit? Well, talk to me. And by the end of the day, I picked out her shoes for her. I helped her pick out the dress. And I was so focused. It was funny. At one point, I was looking at the stuff, and I went over and I said, come here, look at this. And I put my arm out to get my daughter. And because out of my peripheral, I saw the same size and everything. And it was just some random little girl that was there. And I don't even think her parents or whatever, it was a whole thing. It was funny. We all laughed about it, but I was like, hey, come here, look at this one. I was trying to show her like and my daughter was already like down the ways, and she's like, I'm over here, and I'm like, oh geez, I'm so sorry. But anyway, and I helped her. I picked out 2 pairs of shoes. She was like, she's like, I love these shoes, and then she took some other ones, and anyway. But I get to hold that as a memory, and so, yep. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. I'll see you next week. We'll talk more about everything, and appreciate you dropping by. Message me at lostlightmike@gmail.com. I'll see you next week.